on your wrist a plain giant.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. What up and welcome back. It's your girl Jane, the plainest Jane, and we got some syrup to get into. Listen, y'all know things are always sticky in Hollywood and in real life. And listen, get on my bus. Hit the thumbs up button. We have so much. We have a full bus ride. We have so many different neighborhoods. I'm talking from serious to funny, enlightening. There's a lot. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a roller coaster, right? But I'm going to navigate it accordingly, and you will get warnings. There is a certain part of the show, because we're all going to talk about real life, where I will give you a trigger warning. But, you know, things are always sticky in Hollywood and real life. So get on the bus. This is a Black news bus, okay? So this is a social media stroll. This evening, okay, as you're getting settled in, find your seat on the bus, okay? We're going to be talking about so much. We're going to be talking about the real reason Pastor Jamal Bryant issued his apology to Kevin Samuels and his peoples. We're going to be talking about where you should not be getting milkshakes from, gym etiquette, Black and real world news, okay? We will be talking about Buffalo, and really a few unfortunate loopholes that they've already found beyond mental health, because that's something that they always do, with regards to the idiot who carried out the racially charged mass harm event in Buffalo. Okay, so we are going to get into that a little bit later after we, you know, kind of bring the mood up, but we're also going to talk about the state of the country. So this is definitely, like I said, it is a full bus ride, and this is installment 1 of a new series over here. So you definitely want to make sure you come on in, hit thumbs up, subscribe, get comfortable, okay? Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Thank you all so much for coming through, stickies. Listen, let's get ready for takeoff. I want to get right into this. We have so much to discuss. Let's just get started right away, shall we?
The plainest Jane. This is one of my favorite comments here. She says, I loves me some Black, and she said, loves me some Black news. She says, is it just me, or does anyone else get tired of seeing people that don't look like them delivering info about them day in and day out?
So like I said, welcome aboard to the Black News Bus. This is a new series over here. And what it is, it's a social media stroll that covers Black topics inside of the celebrity world, but it also covers real Black news, including everyday people like you and me. And y'all know I always have some Black history to mix in, okay? So real quick, I hope y'all are feeling all right. Y'all know in the beginning of each and every show that I do, I always recommend you tap into your mental health. And if minding your mental peace means that you need to click away from this video because you haven't tapped into your invisible problems and your own spiritual warfare, then definitely do so. I don't take it personal. You can watch it later, or I'll catch you on the next bus ride, okay? If you're chasing the bus, it means you're watching the replay, and that's okay. But shout out to everybody who is on the bus in the live chat right now. I know there are a lot of new subscribers I have. I just want to say thank you, okay? Happy Monday. We all made it through the first day, or second day technically, of the week, and I did reach 5,000 subscribers, so thank you so much. I know I was saying that a little bit last night / this morning, but I did reach my little 5,000 subscribers, and goddamn it, I'm happy about it. So thank you to each and every one of you who support, who watch the show. It means so much. And listen, supporting the show is definitely free. Hitting thumbs up is a means of support. It doesn't matter how you support. I appreciate any and all of it the same, whether you hit thumbs up, subscribe, Cash App, super chat, super thanks. All of them are appreciated just the same. So thank you so much, okay? Now look, before I get into breaking down today's topic in viral events, because we do have a lot of them, okay? So we're going to have to make this snappy. I'm pulling off. Buckle your seatbelts unless you try to be rumbling all over the place, okay? Make sure you subscribe and thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But make sure you think critically and independently, regardless of what you hear from me or anybody else, okay? So let's get right into it, okay? We have so many things that we need to discuss this evening on the bus. Let's talk about Janet Jackson, okay? We're talking about Black news. We're talking about celebrity stuff. We're talking about real world stuff. We're going to start out with Janet Jackson because it is a very special day for her. It is her birthday, okay? It is Janet Jackson's 56th birthday. So I've been paying homage to her all day on Twitter and on social media in general. And, you know, just a beautiful woman. And especially a lot of you may or may not remember the review I did on her documentary that came out on Lifetime. It was really good. It was really good. I did the review. Jaded Nerd came on here with me and gave his commentary as well. And Janet Jackson, despite how turbulent, right, her life and everything that she's been through, she looks amazing. She looks amazing to be 56 years old. And just shout out to her. I don't know if y'all watched the Billboard Awards between last night and just seen all of the stuff that all the celebrities and whatnot were doing. But there was a moment, and actually, since she had a birthday party, she invited like Usher, Jermaine Dupri. But Diddy basically tried to shoot his shot a little bit, and it's like, boy, get out of here. We don't have time. P Diddy, Puff Daddy, P Diddy Bob with Janet Jackson. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen, but I definitely wanted to start out with Janet Jackson before we get into the state of America and R. Kelly. Okay. I wanted to start with the fragment of music of the music world that is still very much well respected. And Janet Jackson is definitely one of those people who deserves all of her flowers. She's resilient as hell. Okay. And we definitely saw she had been through a lot. In that documentary, and in general, all the Jacksons. So listen, I want to get into R. Kelly next, right? I want to get into him next. But first, I just want to ask y'all about just some tattoos that people been getting lately. I know you read the title. You know we're gonna get into Pastor Jamal Bryant in a second too. Okay, we're gonna get into Pastor Jamal Bryant in just a moment. Okay, like I said, if you're just getting on the bus, make sure you come on in. Make sure you hit thumbs up. We're just getting started. You're not late. You're right on time. We ain't even been to the bush yet. Okay? So come on in. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. So as we get started, right, I just want to know if some of you all are okay. If some of your compadres, if some of the people that you know, are they okay? Because for these men to be out here, and I posted this on a community tab, and listen, while you watching, go ahead and bring the video down, make it small, and check out the community tab and hit thumbs up on some of the posts. Just engage with the content over there, right? So I posted this on the community tab, which is a good way to keep in touch with me in between content. And these men are getting Kevin Samuels tattoos. Make it make sense. Make it make an ounce of sense for me. Are they okay? The one on the right looked like Sammy Sosa or something. The one on the left, I mean, it's not as bad as the one on the right, but do y'all not have real dads that y'all could potentially, or real father figures that you've met, like an uncle that was like really there for you? Like, what's going on that y'all find the need to get this alleged high value man tattoo? I just don't get that. When I saw it, I'm like, I beg your pardon. I beg your serious pardon. They said Samuels is their Jesus. It's not making sense. These are definitely some sick Negroes. These are some sick Negroes indeed.
This is a sick Negro.
Sick. The one on the left is up by the man's thigh. So you mean to tell me you have the desire to get a Kevin Samuels tattoo up there on your thigh, close to your meat? It's you, your meat, and Kevin Samuels all in the sandwich together. Something's not right with that. How many of these are we going to have by the time the summer get here? How many is it going to be? Something's going on. Something's not right. Y'all are too old for this. Not even a temporary tattoo, not even some henna. I'd be down if it was some henna. Like, okay, henna don't last but for so long, but this is just too much. They too old.
You gotta be ashamed of yourself, nigga. Real talk. You gotta be ashamed of yourself. Old as you is.
Yeah, it's a bit too much. It's a bit too much. This is definitely cult-like behavior. We talking getting tattoos. Y'all remember I covered the BBW TikTok cult ran by Angela, right? They called Angie's Girls, and she makes them self-harm and hand over their paychecks, and they got CPS involved because they are more so worshiping Angela and sending their unemployment checks rather than taking care of their kids. And some of them even getting tattoos. One of them that got a tattoo, got out of the cult, got the tattoo covered up, but she still keep running back and forth to the cult. and you got to be a plus a mess. This is the type of stuff. This is cult-like behavior right here. Believe it or not. These men got to grow up. I ain't gonna go to the bush yet because we got a lot to get into, but god dang. It's a bit much. It is. It's definitely cult-like behavior. It is. They miss their daddy so much. Lord have mercy. Well, I know that you all remember when I did the video the other day. I think it might have been like Friday night / technically Saturday morning, where we had Pastor Jamal Bryant, sneak this Kevin Samuels and his ideology and the hypocrisy within Kevin Samuels' life. He used that to diss him during a sermon. We're going to get into the real reason why Pastor Jamal Bryant has since apologized. Okay, so we watched that full clip in its entirety. See, me, I didn't just want the 30-second soundbite. I wanted everything that was surrounding the full context. And honestly, like I was saying in the video, a lot of people may not want to hear it, but I mean, it did tie into the sermon perfectly. The only thing that he really got wrong was the GoFundMe part. Take the GoFundMe aspect out. That was just one of the 8 things that he mentioned surrounding Kevin Samuels and how Kevin Samuels lived his life. But the sermon was honestly primarily about women oppression and how just misogyny and how potent and how it even existed back in the Bible days. And it was really just the 9th point or example that he used out of all of the other ones that he used to really talk about this. So we want to talk about why he apologized. But first, let's listen to the apology, because honestly, the apology, it was definitely pretty mature, right? It was, what was it? Okay. It was a mature apology, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and get it pulled up. Hit thumbs up if you haven't already. The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Pastor Jamal Bryant actually apologizing for sneak dissing Kevin Samuels from the pulpit. Let's make sure we got our volume up. Okay. All right.
Out for just one moment. Of the sound of your offense, hear this, the sound of your offense should be the same volume of your apology. There are several principles that we've got to give our children, and I want to express them aloud for just one moment. Of the sound of your offense, hear this, the sound of your offense should be the same volume of your apology. Sound of your offense should be at the same volume of your apology. And so if you did something wrong out loud, then don't apologize to me with a whisper. I can't hear anybody in here. I'm going to take just one moment. I want to take a moment. Last week, while we were in worship, I made a reference to now deceased public critic and public intellectual about relationships, Brother Samuels. As a consequence, later information came forth that what it is that I said was incorrect. This place is a place of truth. Everything that I say from this place must be a place of truth as it represents the gospel of God. I don't care whether you are a pastor, a bishop, or a postman. When you are wrong, you have to own when you are wrong. And so not in a quiet place, but from the same pulpit in which I said it, I wanted to address it. Everybody wants to be an adult until it's time to apologize. I am a full-grown adult, and I take full accountability of everything that I say and everything that I do. So I wanted to take a moment and apologize to the Samuels family. I wanted to apologize to the larger community. I wanted to apologize to my noble brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Hear this, because an apology is only messed up if you match it with an excuse. Apologies do not come with an excuse. An apology comes with ownership. And I want to make a very clear lesson and indication: when people hold you accountable, that does not make them a hater. When people hold you accountable, that means they have expectation for what it is that you ought to be doing and how you ought to function and how you ought to flow. This week, I got a whole lot of people that want to help me be accountable. And I want to thank them for helping me to be a better person. I'm so thankful that God ain't finished with me yet. I don't do everything that I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it. But repentance means there is a change of behavior. So as a consequence, I want to say to you, watch me grow. Watch me do better, and watch me represent the body of Christ at a much higher level than what I've done before. If I've let you down, it was never my intention. If I dishonored you, never my intention. You felt disrespected, never my intention. My intention every time I stand is for God to be glorified and for the people to be equipped. Now, let's go do the work of Jesus Christ and do what it is that God has called us to do.
Well, that's what he has said. And the rum. You know what? For me, I'm like, look, he's in a lose-lose situation for the people who don't feel like it's genuine, right? That's the best way an apology can be worded. However, you got to keep in mind, he is Pastor Jamal Bryant, his gift is words. Does he have affairs and side babies and all this dirty laundry as long as the day is long? Oh, yeah. But he's so good with words that it's like, okay, here's what I'll say. They are in the same fraternity. For me, in my mind, Pastor Jamal Bryant ain't know that when he said what he said. They're both Kappas, Kappa Alpha Psi. And so I think once that fraternity got a hold of him, because you're not supposed to go against your own in public, I feel like that is the reason why he issued the apology. That's the real reason, right? All things stated in this video are alleged and according to reports. There's a full copyright disclaimer in full effect. But Pastor Jamal Bryant said he was wrong, but honestly, the only thing that he was incorrect on was the GoFundMe. And I think that two things played a factor in this. You had the fact that they found out, come to find out they are part of the same fraternity, but also you had the family coming down strong only after Pastor Jamal Bryant said what he said. The family coming out and saying that GoFundMe doesn't have anything to do with us. We don't know who set it up. We're not affiliated. They didn't ask us. And we're not accepting money from it. GoFundMe is like, well, we're going to give you the money. They're like, we're not accepting the money from that GoFundMe. So I feel like had that backlash not came down and the family legitimately disassociated from that GoFundMe and the fraternity, there may not have been an other than that, honestly, a lot of people feel like wrong messenger, but right message. And I agree. It was the right message. There was nothing wrong with what he said. A lot of people just feel like you're too imperfect to deliver this message or to diss him from the pulpit. But there are a lot of men who perpetuate and try to oppress women with their power. And he even pulled up the scripture. I pulled it up in the video. If you didn't see it, you didn't see it. But it's in that video. And I ain't trying to dig back into the Bible in this video because we got a lot of stuff to get into. But I dug in it there and I went back and I've read around that context. Not just those two verses, read around the context. Okay. And so men were definitely abusing their power in and outside of the church back in the biblical days. And those are the comparisons that Pastor Jamal Bryant was making. So let me know how y'all feel about it, whether you're on the bus, which means you're one of the 95 people in the live chat right now. Let me know how you feel about Pastor Jamal Bryant dissing him in the first place and then his apology. Do you feel like it's genuine or do you not? Any and all thoughts? Make sure you let me know how you feel about it down below. If you're chasing the bus still, leave a comment and let me know how you felt about Pastor Jamal Bryant and what he had to say. Do you feel like it was genuine or not? Okay. They said it was the delivery. Listen, it's not like he went and made a social media post and said, listen, let me just go ahead and type, I'm sorry. He went and apologized just as loud as he did when he dissed them. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing worse than somebody that'll disrespect you publicly and then want to apologize privately or apologize in a whisper when the disrespect was definitely a yell. So it was mature, but people could argue, is this performative, or are you really growing, or are you just saying that? And that's all up for speculation. But you know, it is what it is. Let's get into the next thing. Since we get through all the entertainment stuff before we get through the real world stuff, and I gotta, give you the trigger warning and all that other stuff. Let's get into, y'all, this Pied Piper. This Pied Piper, I'm so sick of him. I'm so sick of him. But let's go ahead and talk about it. We've got to talk about it. Not you, Pastor. We done with you, Pastor. And it's no offense to you, Pastor, but we done with you. All right. Let's get into R. Kelly, okay? R. Kelly back in the news again. Why? Why would R. Kelly be side by side with this man right here? Why would R. Kelly be pictured right next to this man? You got to ask yourself that. Well, if you recognize this man, you might remember that I did some commentary on him and I covered this story. This was a man who went ahead and decided to carry out a terrorist attack in the New York City, I believe it was the Bronx subway system, on the trains. And his name was Frank James, and he was a little sick. He definitely was off his beaten rocker, not working with a full deck of cards. This man over here. I mean, neither one of them are, right? It's a picture of two men whose elevators don't go all the way to the top. just keep it a buck. But Frank James on the right, he's definitely mentally ill. And we went over some of his videos because he had a couple of YouTube channels, Facebook page, where he had been talking about wanting to attack random people for a while. He really felt like he was going to help the end of the world as we know it come about. He felt like he was going to help. And he carried out that crazy attack in New York, right? And it's crazy because a lot of this stuff really disappeared from the media right after it happened. Like right after it happened. And it's really weird. Frank James hasn't been before a judge yet to be formally charged. R. Kelly, on the other hand, has been before a judge and been formally charged. He just hasn't been sentenced yet. However, somehow they became buddies in a jail cell. Now, if you remember not too long ago on the channel, I was telling you about one of R. Kelly's cellmates coming out and telling us what it was like. I mean, it was quite a tell-all. R. Kelly's got somebody washing his drawers, reading his mail, sending outbound mail to the fans, physical mail, typing up his emails. It's a whole ordeal, okay? And a lot of it is very believable. Very believable. It adds up. There seem to be a lot of little canaries circling around, hovering around R. Kelly. A lot of what he is doing, what he's thinking, his day-to-day, and it makes sense. A lot of what that guy said, it lined up with what we had known or what we were able to put together from what we saw from the outside looking in when Azriel and Joycelyn Savage got into that spat and don't speak anymore. But they were like sister wives because they're in a triangulation. But nonetheless, look, because y'all know I got R. Kelly info for days. Go back and watch the video if you haven't caught that already. The last R. Kelly video that I did where his roommate tells, he's got an infected toe. He's not taking showers. Listen, it's a mess. Okay, it's a mess. So you definitely want to go grab all that syrup if you haven't already. Okay, I think that video was like early last week or a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. So go check it out if you haven't already. But yes, these two have become buddies in jail. Would you know it? These two crazy motherfuckers out here becoming buddy in the jail. And I've done videos on both of these men recently in the last month. And it's crazy that these two stories come colliding together like this. Okay. It's really ironic. But like I said, R. Kelly doesn't find it interesting. Nobody on the outside is telling R. Kelly there's too much of what you're doing in there getting out here. you're talking too much, you're being too loud, you're being too visible, because everything that he's doing is making it, and credible sources at that, right? The R. Kelly cellmate tell-all interview that didn't make it to all of the blogs and the big publications. However, Frank James and R. Kelly right here made it to all of the credible blogs, and I mean all of them, and publications, not even blogs, right? Because that can be like a step down from some sort of journalistic publication. Listen, R. Kelly's talking a little bit too much. I think people are waiting to get additional. I don't know. That's a whole nother conspiracy. We'll talk about that backstage for the members only. However, the Brooklyn subway shooter, Frank James on the right, has been making some friends while he's awaiting his trial. Okay. And like I said, R. Kelly, I covered the sex trafficking and racketeering trial that got me mentioned by the New York Times. And R. Kelly is waiting for sentencing. Frank James is waiting to go before a judge. And a source from the jailhouse, according to the New York Daily News, said they get along, they sit together, and they eat together. Okay. They talk about TV shows. They go out on rec together. Rec is recreational time when they have free time outside of their cells where they can roam around almost just about as they please. It's kind of like playtime on the playground. And they say that they really are close buds. Another piece of information that I have about R. Kelly's state in jail, which honestly was not mentioned anywhere in this story right here, is that R. Kelly is singing up, just busting out in song a cappella in the jail all the time. And it could be a nervous tick. It could be a sense that soothes him, or it could be a way for him to disarm everyone around him because, although he's in the pen, a lot of people are still really amazed by him and they don't care that he's a pedophile. They don't care. So if that is going to disarm everyone else from really going hard at him, that could be one of the reasons why he's singing a lot. But I think that R. Kelly has always been musically inclined before he could barely talk. So I think that it's only natural that he would be singing in there. Lord knows I'd be doing, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just his passion. But nonetheless, they're both in jail at the Brooklyn jail, where Frank James has a bunkmate and R. Kelly has his own room, but they do talk and they are in communication all the time. So here's a quote from the newspaper where I was actually able to corroborate this in a credible fashion, right? And not just say something that I'm 98% sure is true. It says, despite their uncertain futures, both could spend the rest of their lives in prison. James and R. Kelly managed to find some solace behind bars. In his few weeks in the jail, James has not been much of a complainer. He drinks copious amounts of coffee, and R. Kelly uses his music to lift spirits, according to numerous sources. In one surreal example, the proclaimed king of R&B silenced a crowd in the visiting room at MDC when he stood in his jail fatigues and gave an a cappella performance of his chart-topping hit, I Believe I Can Fly. A source present for the impromptu concert recalled even MDC correction officers watched in stunned silence. Okay, so I didn't know that this was included in this story, but it was something that I heard from a very credible place. Y'all know I be having ears on the ground. But nonetheless, yeah, he's out here singing and wowing to people. So I think that could be a means of protection, right? In there, right? And I think that it's a win-win for if you want to hear some music while you're in there, you don't care about, what you gonna do? Tell them to shut up while everybody else enjoying it? Like, it could be a win-win for everybody in that shitty situation. But that's what R. Kelly and Frank James, the New York City, Brooklyn subway mass shooter, that is what they are up to behind bars, okay? Shout out to Just Jay for rejoining the membership. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And shout out to all y'all in the live chat that are actually on the bus, okay? Thank you for hitting thumbs up. It means so much. And don't forget to check out the community tab. Now, let's keep it pushing. We've been through a couple of neighborhoods so far. We got to wishing Janet Jackson a happy birthday. We got to talking about the Kevin Samuels tattoos. We got to talking about why Pastor Jamal Bryant apologized. We got into R. Kelly. Oh, my God. The next thing that we need to get into is something that, listen, it's a question. When I first saw it, listen, I don't want to ruin it, but I definitely need you all's advice about how you feel about it. Do you feel like this woman is wrong? Do you feel like the gym is wrong? You see part of the title says gym etiquette, right? So there was a Black woman who was approached, who was asked to be removed because there were so many people complaining about her body odor in the gym. Yes. Yeah. And I want to know how you feel about it. Let's take a look, and I want to hear what y'all got to say. You would think, let me just see what y'all think. I just need to see what y'all think. Okay.
Planet Fitness, and then this like male employee came up to me and he like pulled me into like one of the rooms. It wasn't obviously like there's no private rooms in Planet Fitness. And he was like, oh, you know, several members have complained to managers about the way you smell. I'm like, I'm at the gym. He's like, I know, it's not me. And I just, you know, people have already complained to the managers. So the managers told me to tell you. I'm like, what? Am I supposed to not be stinky like at the gym? And I'm just so confused because I thought Planet Fitness was no judgment. So I'm just very confused about how one is supposed to spend almost 2 hours at the gym and not be stinky. I don't understand that. I just left Planet Fitness, and then this like male employee came up to me and he like pulled me into like one of the rooms. It wasn't obviously like there's no private rooms in Planet Fitness. And he was like, oh, you know, several members have complained to managers about the way you smell. I'm like, I'm at the gym. He's like, I know, it's not me. And I just, you know, people have already complained to the managers. So the managers told me to tell you. I'm like, what?
Y'all are out of
pocket. Am I supposed to not be stinky like at the gym? And I'm just so confused because I thought Planet Fitness was no judgment. So I'm just very confused about how one is supposed to spend almost 2 hours at the gym and not be stinky. I don't understand that.
Okay, so I'm trying to be serious, but y'all in the chat going off. y'all going off in the chat. Listen, 2 hours. Listen, I first came across this video. I'm like, why is this Black woman crying? They picking on her at the gym, and then I'm listening to the details. I'm like, in 2 hours, that bad? In 2 hours? Fresh sweat don't be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying this right, but I'm also saying, like, what the hell is we supposed to do watching this video outside of just like make faces and shit? Like, what I'm supposed to do? Why you come to the internet to tell us? Because now it's just like, is there anything else that you're going to do that we're going to remember more than this? Are you talented? Or like, are there some paintings? Like, why you get on they told you stink at the gym, and then you're gonna go put it on the internet to let only the people in that building knew at first. Like, I just don't know what was going on. All them people complaining like that, and you was there just for 2 hours, and by the time they got up to you at the end of the second hour, that couldn't have been the last straw. Like, I just don't. I'm just not. What are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? Because like, if you're not washing before you go, that's going to set you off a little bit more. And I mean, I'm not saying this right. Yeah, it's supposed to be a no judgment zone. But what are we supposed to do? I just don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about it.
It was gone.
Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
And I feel bad because she seemed really hurt, but it's like, coming to the internet to make a video instead of trying to figure out like what you can do to not be that potent. You know what I mean? I feel like that time could have been used to research how can other people not be affected by whatever I got going on, because there might be something going on. It could be a disorder or something, things that she just isn't noticing. She might be immune to what's, but that time, instead of trying to get sympathy from us, and that might not have been right. Like, you gotta think about, have you ever seen somebody get told that they breath stink? A lot of times when that comes out, it don't come out the right way. But you know what you do? You get the fucking point, and you go get some gum, or you brush your teeth, or you get some Listerine. That's what the person do. Instead of going to the internet and being like, yo, this person just told me my breath stink. Like, no, fix it. Their delivery might have been foul. And I'm not excusing it, because a lot of times the delivery can diminish your message. But she said she got pulled to the side. It's not like they were like, burn, cut the music. Everyone, hey, yo, shorty, you stink. It's not like that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she got pulled to the side, something that was bothering, other people. And what we supposed to do? How I'm supposed to scroll across this video and try to keep a straight face? There's got to be something. There's got to be something that can be done. Just the world didn't need to know, right? The world, we all didn't need to know that. I just, yeah, some things are just better left unsaid. You know what I mean? Like, we just got finished with the Gunna indictments, snitching on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you was embarrassed in front of that small group of people, why the fuck did you tell the whole internet? I'm trying to find reasons, because I see there's somebody in the comments saying if she has a disorder, there's nothing she can do. But like, there are several things that you can do to reduce odor, even if it's wearing, you really might need to study yourself. It might be, the what do you call it? The material of your underwear. Cotton might set you off, so you need to switch to polyester, or the other way around, or this, or certain scents that are odor blocking, that aren't adding additional bad bacteria. Like, they're like, odor isn't just something that you can't do nothing about. Like, make it easier for everybody here, right? It's not everybody's fault that they got a nose and that they can smell. How is that their fault? I'm trying to be nice, I ain't trying to clown, but you know what I'm saying? What else is we supposed to do when we scroll up on this video? What else? I'm just, they said drink water. They said watch she try to sue over the embarrassment. Child. I just wanted to yeah, there's got to be something that can be done. There's got to be something just to help alleviate, not to eliminate, but to alleviate. Those are two different things. And whether you in a relationship, whether you need to catch on a flight one day, because you know what I'm saying, you're going to be in tight spaces, and everybody shouldn't be, subject to that. If there's a solution, and I don't think coming to the solution, coming to the internet is going to make her feel no better. I just don't think it's going to make her feel no better. Okay, someone's giving us a word to Google. Let's go ahead and get to the comments and Google it. It starts with a T. Let me go ahead and get it. Dang, that's a long word. Okay, let's go ahead and see what it say. We live, baby. Let's get some live research done. Let's get some live research done. Make sure y'all hit thumbs up. Okay, let's see. All right. So we have it on the screen. trimethylmurenia. And it says it's an uncommon condition that causes an unpleasant fishy smell. It's also called fish odor syndrome. Sometimes it's caused by faulty genes that a person inherits from their parents, but this isn't always the case. There's currently no cure, but there are things that can help. That's my point. That's the point that I was making before I even Googled this. Nobody's saying that, there's a cure and go find Dr. Sebi so he can eliminate it. It literally says that there are things that can help. And so if there are things that can help, then, exploring those options might be, and working on that issue might be the better option than going to the internet to further victimize yourself. And like I said, there might not be something to eliminate. There might be something to alleviate. And the definition of alleviate is something that can help lessen the symptoms rather than eliminate whatever the underlying disorder is. I wasn't doubting that something like this exists, but I mean, just, and this is also why having friends can be important. You know what I mean? Especially women friends can, help you understand when something's happening before a stranger wants to tell you about something that they notice about you, whether it be how you smell, your hair, your lipstick, your clothes might be see-through, toilet paper on the back of your shoe. Like, that's what friends, family, and close friends are for as well, to help you get yourself together, because strangers not going to have the same care for you as somebody that's close to you, that's going to put you on game in a way that won't make you feel so defensive, or you trust their delivery more and their intentions. That comes in handy too. So I hope this lady gets better, honestly. Let's move on to the next neighborhood. We moving pretty fast on this bus. What is it? 40 minutes. We done got through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, not bad. Let's keep going through these neighborhoods, child. We done moved on. What we can do for this woman right here that we just left, as we pull off from her bus stop, we can pray. We don't want to see her hurt, because honestly, her tears hurt my feelings. But then as I'm listening to what she got to say, and I'm like, oh, baby, what can you do to help yourself? Because what's the internet going to do outside of Google things like this and tell you to help yourself? So just help yourself, baby. We're going to pray. But for now, we just going to pull off and go to the next bus stop. That's where we need to be. Let's go.
Anyway.
So let's go ahead and get into the next thing. Like I was telling y'all in the beginning of the video, okay, we're going to talk about where to not get shakes from, okay? I don't know if you've seen this story earlier today. I went ahead and posted it on In the Know Radio. Somebody, Famecom, said we can send her a gift basket full of soap. You know what? You ain't right. You is not right. She got to be willing to use it. You know what I'm saying? So listen, let's talk about Arby's, because this right here was so disgusting. It's so disgusting. It's beyond out of pocket. Okay. So an Arby's manager was fired and arrested after police found videos of him urinating in the shake machine and child pornography. Okay. This is Arby's. As if we already wasn't eating at Arby's to begin with. How many of us eat at Arby's? We don't. We don't. And at this point, we ain't gonna start.
Excuse me, I'm fucking out of here right now.
we not doing it. It's not happening, because what's really going on? What's really going on? A man who was being investigated for child pornography admitted to police that he enjoyed relieving himself in the restaurant's milkshake mix while working as a night manager at a Vancouver, Washington Arby's. His name is Stephen Sharp. He allegedly urinated in the milkshake mix at the fast food eatery for his own sexual gratification on at least 2 different occasions. In addition to his confession, Police found 2 videos in his phone to confirm his sick desire to trick the general public into drinking urine, as he recorded the heinous act more than one time. Investigators are looking for any unlucky customers who purchased a drink, okay, a milkshake in particular, that could potentially be contaminated with urine. Vancouver police are asking anyone who purchased a shake from the Arby's at 211 Northeast 104th Avenue on October 30th or 31st and has a receipt to contact them. Okay, so he was arrested and he confessed to also downloading and distributing child pornography and having a sexual interest in children as recent as May 10th. Shortly after, officers executed a search warrant and uncovered dozens of photos and videos depicting the sexual exploitation of children, as well as the urine video on his digital device. He downloaded some of the disturbing content within the chain restaurant on at least one occasion. He was charged with 4 counts of possession of depictions of minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct, 4 counts of dealing depictions of minors engaged in sexually explicit conduct, and assault. Police are still investigating the library of illicit videos and images on his devices. So this is just disgusting on so many different fronts. Okay? Not only are you peeing in the milkshake machine, you're also a fucking pedophile. And you like pee. You know, R. Kelly's making a lot of new friends. A lot of them. And I think that you should be one of them. Since you like tricking the general public into drinking your orange #1, I think that you should be in a cell with R. Kelly. I think that you should get golden showers, or maybe let me go to the bush, because this is no.
It was gone. Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
It's too much. It's too much. The milkshakes, we used to hear rumors like this about ejaculation in the Checkers milkshake machines years ago. That was a rumor. Come to find out, Arby's, they just straight off da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he got videos. Not only did he confess, there are videos. He has done this. And how the hell people supposed to remember around Halloween last year and have a receipt that's what's going on? And what's the compensation gonna look like for them? You can't pay them enough. They didn't drink pee. How much? What's the pain and suffering gonna be? This is out of pocket. This is out of pocket. It's way out of pocket.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
Yeah, Arby should sue him too. I saw somebody said in the comments, Arby should sue him. Yeah, absolutely. Not R. Kelly needs to be baptized. Child. It's a mess. It's a mess. That's what make people not want to eat at fast food, because this could be happening anywhere just because it was Arby's. But yeah, I do think that Arby should press charges too. That makes sense, because this is terrible press. How do you get rid of press like this? How do you get you can't get rid of press like this? No. So let me know what you would do. What would you do? How freaked out would you be if you felt like, you know what, around about that week, even if you couldn't narrow it down to October 30th or the 31st, if you felt like around about that time, within that week or two or month, hell, that you had been to this particular restaurant and you had drank one, how would you feel? How would you go about rectifying this and causing hell on social media? And how much would you want? What's your going price for unknowingly digesting urine? Jesus. I just, what? I found a roach ring in my egg roll once. I was horrified. Lord have mercy. You know what? That's not hard to believe. I done been to places that serve Chinese food and had roaches crawling out of my plate. Child, got up and left. Just got up and left. You know, dirty places exist. My thing is, I feel we done all ate some dirt at one point or another, whether we know it or not. My thing is like, listen, if I see a roach before I get my food while I'm ordering it, I'm out. Like, at least don't let me see it. I'm very well aware of the fact that I done had some contaminated food at one point or another, especially in chicken box joint, whatever. But no, I don't. Mm-mm. If it's crawling out, no, I don't got time. No, no, not at all. Not all. Not roach legs under the rice. Lord have mercy. Mm. All righty. So we've pretty much gotten into all of the entertainment that we want to get into. You know what? The last thing that I did want to talk about was entertainment wise before we get serious, right? And talk about like what's going on in the state of the world and fostering those discussions about a couple of different things. And I'm gonna be respectful as possible, but sometimes we need to talk about these real topics. We just need to talk about these real topics. But I wanted to bring up something that is pretty light before we get into anything serious. I wanted to talk about this because I find it so odd. Those of you who know already, you know, I covered a story yesterday, or actually earlier this morning, where there was a little white boy that showed up to a Black family's home with a whip, right? With a whip in his hand. Really, really ridiculous. Here's the picture. You may or may not have seen it all over social media. So I went ahead and did a video where we got the full context. There was this almost hour-long interview that the Black parents had done afterwards to help us really break down and understand all of the different moving parts within that story. So check that video out if you haven't already. But when I heard about that whip, right, and wondering, okay, what's the excuse? Why? How did this little white boy even get to a whip? How is that possible? How does one even get their hands on a whip in 2022? Like, how is that possible? So what the Black parent was actually saying was, I've seen him whip his dog with it. And I'm like, well, where's Peter? Where's Peter? Peter come popping out the bushes any old other time for anybody and anything, right? Where was Peter in this instance? Meanwhile, unproblematic, okay? Black, beautiful, non-problematic couple, Ciara and Russell Wilson, go out here and purchase a dog, and here come Peter. Peter said they're calling on the couple to level up on kindness by adopting a companion, okay, for this pup instead of fueling the homeless animal crisis. So Peter is upset that Ciara purchased a dog instead of adopting one. They have this much entitlement that they feel like they can force a celebrity to adopt instead of buy. And when I tell you, I went to this post myself, and Peter was all up and down they comments, all up. Adopt, don't shop. Adopt, don't shop. I'm like, that's what we doing? If you don't leave these Black people alone, they don't bother nobody. They bought a dog. They got a beautiful family. What you need to be doing is going after this white family because they out here got this whip, banging on people's doors and banging on their dog with it. That's where you need to be. It don't make no sense. Like, why are you bothering Ciara? What did they do? What did they do? Right. You don't know where these adopted dogs came from. But who's to say I want to adopt the animals? The thing about animals is the older they are, when you adopt them, the more set into their ways they are, which can make them more difficult to train, dog or cat. It's especially a cat. I mean, a dog can be the same way too. If they were raised for their previous owner tolerated them scratching stuff, tolerated them peeing on things, tolerated them being super hype or on a certain bed or couch, or no furniture was off limits. You know how hard it's going to be to break patterns like that are already established in dogs to adopt, as opposed to buying your own animal from when they are as young as you are able to legally purchase it, whether it be 5 weeks or whatever, so that you can train them exactly how you want and need them to be for your household, your lifestyle, and your family. How dare you come at these celebrities and tell them that instead of them spending their hard-earned money, that they need to adopt one of y'all muddy dogs? How dare you? How dare you? All up in these people's business. Peter need to be worried about this scrambled egg I'm eating with this glass of chocolate. Cocoa Butter Barbie, you is out of pocket. You are out of pocket, Coco. Not your scrambled egg and chocolate milk. Bye.
But you're not. Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. You go to bed at night, you lay there, and you take responsibility for yourself.
I cannot with you. I can't. I'm literally over here wheezing at your joke. I can't. I cannot. I can't. Okay. So now what I want to do is that was a good laugh before we get into something serious. That was a good laugh. Thank you for coming through with that, Coco. Now let's get into something a little bit more serious, right? I do want to talk about what's going on in the world. I enjoy talking about celebrities and entertainment and really analyzing Hollywood, Hollyweird, whatever, and keeping an eye on Black folk. But I will gladly sit that down to talk about real people and real things. Like I told you, the Black News Bus is a social media stroll that actually covers Black topics inside the celebrity world, but it also covers real Black news involving everyday people like you and me. And you know, I'm always going to add some Black history in. So what I want to do is get into something a little bit more serious. We are going to move upstate, right? I'm going to be talking about New York. Okay. So I do want to give you a trigger warning. All right. Before we get into this, I do want to know how you feel about it as well. If anyone wants to call in, I will drop the link. I'll be going over a little bit of information, not too much, because I really had to mind my mental peace before I decided to go ahead and really dig into doing research to talk about this topic. I continuously scrolled past it when I found out about it over the weekend because I was just trying to decompress and just mind my mental peace. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you this trigger warning. We are getting serious as we talk about the racial uprising, the targeting of Black folk, how and why non-Blacks are so emboldened to target us with gunfire, and why we're the victims of so many terroristic threats and situations. So that is something that we are about to get into. Okay. So beware of that. I'm giving you the trigger warning. Make sure y'all hit thumbs up. I'm gonna get into this commercial. It is Growing Up Black. Y'all know that is a series that I'm still working on over here. So we'll be right back. I want to create a space where we can talk authentically as Black people about our experiences growing up Black. We take a trip down memory lane, from the pain to the jokes to the cultural nuances that a lot of us share and how they correlate to the way we navigate adulthood. Welcome to the Growing Up Black series. That trailer cracks me up. I had a really good time creating and editing that from beginning to end. So, thank you all to everybody who anticipates that series, and I can't wait to roll it out. All right, so let's get into something that's more serious. We're talking about this racial massacre, right? Because Black and brown folk were targeted um, with this situation, and that was a lot of stuff that really happened this weekend. That was really unfortunate. And for me, listen, y'all know I love bringing y'all content. I love keeping y'all in the know, and I like breaking stories too. But I be having to save some of me for me, so that I don't deplete myself trying to pour into y'all. But Mind of My Mental Peace had me really pulling up on this story and digging into it a little bit late, because when I do a story, when I present information, I like to do extensive research. And sometimes you can literally fall down the rabbit hole, and I weave into and I hold on to details and make sense of them. And sometimes that involves me internalizing them in order to formulate my opinion or regurgitate the information in a way that makes sense for me. And this was just not anything that I wanted to hold on to. It's still not anything that I want to hold on to. However, I can't just be oblivious and turn a blind eye and pretend like events like this don't happen. And analyzing situations like this and trying to reverse engineer them, although this has been happening for the longest time, these are things that are part of discussions that we need to be having as Black people. And Chance the Rapper even says something about that earlier, a few days ago. A matter of fact, I'll put that on the screen right now. Actually, I thought it was really, really important what he said. So let's go ahead and pull that up before we get into it, right? So here's what Chance the Rapper said. He says, Black people globally should be in conversation with each other privately about the race massacre that happened yesterday and how we should respond. Privately, he says, in person, whenever, wherever we are. This is not a convo for Twitter, but it is a conversation that we all need to be having. You don't need an organization to organize. You don't need a meeting to meet. We are everywhere all the time. We just need to talk to each other. So this is what Chance the Rapper had to say. Let me know how you all feel about what he has to say right down below. Do you agree with this messaging? Do you not agree with this messaging? He took it a step further when I was taking a look at his Twitter today and said, please don't have this conversation here. He's like, you can create threads on Twitter. And, one thing about us Black people and what we don't have down pat, or what we don't do that's so blatantly obvious, in my opinion, from whites, is they gatekeep like hell. You can't just go learn one or two Paramore or Blink 182 songs and just have this ticket to be invited, to their tuna casserole and raisin potato salad functions. It's just not going to happen. They gatekeep, but they're also very much on code. And so the conversations that they need to have about survival, hell, even manipulation, maintaining their power, strengthening their power, doing something that's progressive for them and in their best benefit, they don't have that conversation out in the open. Because having that conversation out in the open on social media, on Clubhouse, wherever, the enemy, right? The person on defense, on the ops are listening in and can reverse engineer and set up detours to whatever it is that you're trying to do. And non-Black folk have always been a step ahead. That's how America was built, on the backs of us and racism and so on and so forth. And so they don't have these conversations about how to get ahead of us out in the open. And so unity and unity is something that they more so have than us. They don't have to like one another, but they damn sure gonna be on code. They not gonna be out in the open, snitching on one another, fighting, acting the fool. Like, that's just not the bulk of what they do. That's not how they move, because there's no self-preservation there. And so I do think that having conversations about how are we going to break out of this? Because slavery never went anywhere, right? Oppression, racial oppression never went anywhere. It just manifested in different ways as technology and society advanced. So that's one thing that Chance the Rapper said. And I appreciated him saying something. We're going to get into what Viola Davis had to say a little bit later as well. And I can really appreciate when celebrities like a Chance, like a Viola, Idris Elba does it quite frequently too, when they extend and use their voice, their influence, their power, and they use their celebrity to create awareness about real shit that matters, not just Balenciaga and high fashion and whatever, but to really talk about shit that's affecting all of us, rich, poor, social class, whatever. It's breathtaking when they use their voice for some of these things. So shout out to him for doing something that a lot of these 30-year-old Black men, they're not willing to talk about that. They're willing to talk about what's going on in the streets, what's cool, what drugs they doing, and who's sucking their dick tonight. They're just not trying to have conversations about stuff like that. But we know that the Buffalo shooter, to bring it back, right? The Buffalo shooter came, right? He came to the Tops grocery store back in March. This is very easy to find information. It's very surface, that he had been planning this for a while, targeting Black people. You remember, if you've seen any of that footage, some of it was being streamed on Twitch for 2 minutes before Twitch went ahead and removed the video. So we were able to see literally pretty much body cam footage of him doing this heinous act. And when the gun was pointed at a white person, he even apologized, because his goal was not to hurt non-Black people. He wanted to target, he drove over 2 hours to get there to target Black people. And he had been profiling this store for a while. He had came to the store back in March, where he compiled detailed plans of the location. He was even confronted by a security guard at the store back in March when he, was in the process of planning all this. So he called the grocery store Attack Area 1 in a 589-page document posted online on April 29th. Plans to be this extensive. He literally wrote in those plans too. They found a quote that he was specifically going after Black people. 589-page manifesto of how he planned to exterminate Black people. This is it's pretty crazy. We might as well be in the era of Jim Crow and black and white televisions and Martin Luther King. And especially with technology and social media, it's just a medium to further echo and to create all these additional smaller nuances of it. It's sickening. Racism used to be something that you really only experience when you're out in the world and you have to deal with a non-Black person. Now you can open up the app and still have to face all sorts of color discrimination. It's really sick. But what I want to get into right now is this 911 phone call. And I hope they release the audio. But right now, this is an interview that I'm about to show you. It's just a 60-second news clip. And what it is the manager of the store, right? You can hear she's a woman of color. And when she called the police were the 911 dispatcher, her coworkers are literally dying and being shot around her and random people. And the 911 operator is being so rude and so nasty to her on the phone. It's not even funny. So I'm not sure if you've heard this. Mind you, it's not the 911 call, so you won't hear that type of distress, but it is an after account of the manager who made the call. Let's go ahead and take a listen, and then I want to hear what you think about this.
Line with us. Someone who is live on the line with us. Letitia, if you're there, thank you for joining us. It's my understanding that you were working inside of the Tops Market. I believe you were an assistant manager there. Can you walk us through what you saw this afternoon?
I didn't really see much at all. I just heard the gunshots and just dropped down to the ground and just waited for him to stop. And he just wouldn't stop. So I tried to call 911 and I was whispering because I could hear him close by. And when I whispered on the phone to 911, the dispatcher would start yelling at me saying, "Why are you whispering? You don't have to whisper." And I'm trying to tell her, "Ma'am, he's in the store. He's shooting as an active shooter. I'm scared for my life." And she said something crazy to me and then she hung up in my face. And I had to call my boyfriend and tell him to call 911.
Well, that is certainly unfortunate, Letitia.
Someone who is live on the line with us. Letitia, if you're there, thank you for joining us. It's my understanding that you were working inside of the Tops Market. I believe you were an assistant manager there.
So again, this is a report that literally confirms what so many people in Buffalo have said about how turbulent the racism is there. The assistant manager of this Tops grocery store in Buffalo called 911 during the attack and said that the police dispatcher was literally nasty, was yelling at her, got an attitude, and even hung up on her. So many Black people have expressed how ugly police and 911 dispatch personnel are with them on a regular basis. So while her coworkers and customers were being killed around her, she ended up having to make a second call to someone else to get them to call 911 for her. Now imagine being in that situation. Imagine being in a situation where it's literally life and death, not an exaggeration. I think that there's a death. I'm just getting a feeling like literally a life or death situation, and having to rely on calling a non-Black person to get them to call 911 for you because the 911 dispatcher is being racist. And they wonder why we say Black Lives Matter. Of course, Black Lives Matter. The movement just totally been infiltrated with a whole bunch of deception. But why do we want to say things like Black Lives Matter? Because if we're calling you and we need help in a life or death situation, and this is why a lot of people feel like defund the police. I'm not saying this right. I'm not starting that whole conversation because that's not what this is about. However, don't act like you don't understand where the frustration with 12 comes from. This is part of the reason why people are so frustrated and don't like y'all. Outside of the way y'all lock us up, you got the people behind the desks who refuse to dispatch help when one of y'all's school shooters or market shooters decide to inflict pain upon us. And a lot of people feel like, listen, this is a boy who was 18 years old. Of course, the dispatcher should be fired immediately. But a lot of people feel like this boy is 18 years old. He had to have been taught this from somewhere. He had to have been taught this. So some people feel like, listen, open an investigation on the family because he had to have been taught this. There's no way. There's no way he just woke up and decided he wanted to target Black people and made a 589-page manifesto. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Just like we were saying in the video that we did earlier this morning about the little, if you're 9 years old showing the symbolism and a little white boy showing up to Black folk house with a whip and banging on their door and banging on their car. This little boy is 9 years old. He didn't wake up and just become racist or understand what racism was. He was taught that. He was taught that. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. But nonetheless, this is a lot of what is happening in the world, and what do we do? How do we start these conversations and have the town halls? I remember at one point David Banner and Life Jennings were having town halls, but what are we going to do as a people? Me personally, I feel like there's no peaceful way to go about ending this. We've been trying to escape it with peace, hymns, songs, marches, hashtags, no justice, no peace, looting, burning stuff down. None of it has worked. What are we going to do as a people? If we think that being nice and marching and all that it's going to take getting aggressive. MLK did what he did. He preached what he preached, and we tried it that way. The peaceful way. I have a dream. And I'm not saying I don't appreciate his drive, his passion, and what his end goal desire was, but trying to do it the nice way while sundown towns continue to exist, while police refuse to send help, while their nephews are shooting us the fuck up. It's just, I see a lot of people saying it, and that's what a lot of people are saying. Strap up. Strap up, and especially Black women. A lot of people say. Koya says, I was upset to see Biden give only Asian people the hate crime. Hello? Hello, we just got an anti-lynching bill. And it's not even in all states. We have to do with the Malcolm X with child, not the purge. Well, I hadn't ever seen a sundown sign, but I wouldn't doubt it. Oh yeah, I just seen a video. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up. I just seen a video not too long ago of a fella talking about a sundown town that he had drove in. He drives trucks. And he spoke about it. Louisiana juvenile inmates escaped. Yeah. Yeah, so let me pull this up because they absolutely do exist. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yo, let me tell y'all as quickly as I can about my night in a sundown town. Excuse me. Yes, I said that correctly. A sundown town. 2022, a sundown town. For those who don't know what a sundown town is, look it up on Google. But anyway, so I get a load going to a particular city in Texas. And I'm like, okay, well, let me head on over here and drop this off. They're going to pay me this much. That's perfect. I like that. It's a quick 200 miles, make it quick. You know, whatever the amount was, great, cool. I get there and I look at the exit. I'm like, wait a minute. It took me to exit 861A. For those who don't know, it's a place called Vidor, Texas, Vidor, Vidor. I'm like, uh-oh, I've heard stories. Like pretty much everybody I know in Texas that's black tells me, do not go to Vidor, Texas. I'm like, okay. Yet here I was in Vidor, Texas. My load didn't deliver until this morning. This is from the perspective of yesterday. Didn't deliver until tomorrow at 8. It was like 5:30. So I get to the place. I'm not giving names of companies or anything like that. But while I'm driving to the place, I see trailer parks. I see a bunch of Confederate flags. I saw a doll of a black man. It was just a doll wrapped in a Confederate flag hanging from a tree by its neck. That's the type of stuff I saw in Vidor, Texas, which led me to believe that the reputation was fairly earned. I get there. The security guard says, hey, we got a code red. The guy gets on the phone, is like, hey, I can't, I don't want to be responsible for this guy's safety. Let me go ahead and find somebody because we stopped taking loads at 4 o'clock. But I'll get somebody over here from the other side of the plant. Tell them to hang on. So I hang on. I'm doing what I got to do. Finally, somebody comes by about 15 minutes later. The guy said, let me hurry up and get you unloaded. He quickly gets me unloaded. And they said, dude, you might want to get up out of here as soon as possible. We're at sundown. You want to leave here now. Don't stop until you at least get to Beaumont. I was like, okay. He was like, no, seriously. I said, well, what about the police? Why aren't the police there? Police turned a blind eye. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what you said. He said, yeah, man, I don't want to see you getting in any trouble. So I went ahead and I took off, headed to Beaumont. I went to the Petro in Beaumont, slept there, and I had my Armalite Rifle 15 with me. Slept with a couple of extra magazines, but I'm safe, y'all. But that was my night in the sundown. Yo, let me tell y'all as quickly as I can about my night in a sundown town.
And so that's what a sundown town is. And yeah, they still exist. This was a video that was posted just about 3 days ago, less than a week ago. So this stuff is very much still happening. And I saw someone said something about the lacrosse team. Koya said, look up the black lacrosse team who was stopped and accused of drugs. Absolutely. I do remember seeing that story. And it was ridiculous that they did that. And we know what it was. It was because of, it was because of anything that they did. It was because of the way that they looked. And so even children are being targeted. And that's the problem. And that's what's so infuriating, in my opinion, about the situation. You know what I found interesting in a bad way, with the Buffalo Market shooting is, like I said, they're already finding loopholes for this 18-year-old thug because that's what he is. They love calling us thugs and all these other things, but like, no, they are thugs. To do something violent like that, to do a mass, terroristic, that is some thug stuff. And so there is a loophole I saw that they are looking for outside of mental health. I saw on Fox News that they were trying to do the mental health thing. Oh, well, his brain wasn't fully functioned. So what about mental health and so on and so forth? But again, his brain was fully functioned enough to go and pull the trigger, target specific people, a 589-page manifesto. His mind was more than functional for him to have done something like that. But there's also another law, right? And it's a loophole that they found legally. So this is a legal loophole. It's forcing New York prosecutors to drop charges against a slew of criminals caught with high-capacity gun clips. Okay. Just like those used in the Saturday supermarket slaughter in Buffalo. So according to a lawmaker, they had introduced a bill to begin moving to close the legal glitch several days ago before the mass murder of 10 Black people happened by an alleged white supremacist. So what they're saying is if it was manufactured before 1994 and it is grandfathered in, so the state law bans clips with capacities of more than 10 bullets as long as they were not grandfathered in by being manufactured before 1994. Okay. So there's a ban unless it's been grandfathered in. So how do we know? They say it's hard to prove, but how do we know that this is not going to affect whether this, and he pled not guilty. So how do we know that this is not going to be something that they use, that they plant? We don't know any of this stuff, but how would these publications just assemble and publish articles like this and remind people what laws are out here? They are activating and finding ways for him to get around being held accountable for this. And it's crazy. It's crazy. But nonetheless, that's it. Let me go ahead and just move on to the next subject. Make sure you hit thumbs up if you have not already. I really appreciate it. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. So one thing I really enjoy, like I was saying about Chance the Rapper, Viola Davis, I told you we would get into what she had said not too long ago. And one thing I enjoy about her is she always speaks up about things that affect all people. Some folks, no matter what color they are, they get more money, they get into a different tax bracket, they get into a different social class, and they act brand new and they can't talk about anything that affects poor people. Viola Davis is always that person that is looking back and always going to say something. So she posted this today and she tied in her actual Professor Annalise Keating character into it. And she posts white thugs, heavily armed, who were just arrested in comparison to the unarmed, like there's Floyd Mayweather, who was unarmed, and just a huge chart of all of these things, just to help us understand like what type of odds we're working against. And so she says, racism is built into the DNA of America. As long as we turn a blind eye to the pain of those suffering under its oppression, we will never escape those origins. And so, yeah, she posted this today. And I just think, shout out to every celebrity or person with a platform who is using, their voice, their influence, their power to create dialogue around things like this. It's getting really eerie out, like kind of like the beginning of when COVID first started happening. There was Breonna Taylor, there was George, there was just so much. It's just getting really eerie. And for me, it's just, I'm getting kind of desensitized right? Not that I don't care, not that I don't want to care, but like low key, it's just happening so much. Like there's so many violent terroristic acts. It's like, okay, which one, which location, which what? Sometimes it feels like deja vu because it's the same story over and over again. It's like it's just really sad. Um so yeah, that's how I feel about it. And that's as much as I really want to talk about it. Me just minding my mental peace. I just kind of want to move on. But shout out to the celebrities and, you know, any influencer, whether they got 10 subscribers, whether they're an actor, actress, whatever, however they use their voice. If people listen to what they got to say, if you're talking about it, kudos to you, because I think dialogue is important. Okay, internet. Okay, internet. With having discussions to get us, you know, to get us to move forward. Something different has to be done, but we can't be silent and want to make some of these changes. So let's move on to the next subject. Okay. Yeah, can't keep up with the names and places. It's just so much. I know around the Sandra Bland time and Alton Sterling and Philando Castile and I really zoned out that year because it was just too much. After we got to the fourth person, you would see a certain mugshot and you can just see the way the posts are crafted when you find out about that next big name that we won't be able to forget, like a Breonna Taylor or this or that. And you can just see when that is going to be the next story. And so for me, I just had to keep scrolling. I was like, I can't keep taking this in every day. I just couldn't. It was too much. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and move this bus along, child. America is going to do what America it's going to do. And I would love to hear from you and what you all think about it. I'm so invested in my melanin family. Yeah, it makes you kind of numb. Yeah, it makes you very numb because it's how many times can I keep taking in sad stories like that? I'm an empath, so I just couldn't do it. So I make sure I know I have certain pockets of the internet that I know bring me joy, certain pages, certain websites, and different places and sources of legit positive stories, positive trending news and things like that to get some upliftment from. That's for me, creating balance on my social media journey and how I take care of myself. If I feel like I've stumbled upon too many negative stories, which sometimes it does get to be that way. But listen, let's move on to the next thing. I know y'all done seen the thumbnail. I know that you've read the title. Okay. We're going to keep this bus moving. And let's go ahead over to Calvin Klein. Okay. Calvin Klein catching all the backlash in the world. So they have a pregnant trans man who is spotlighted in Calvin Klein's advertisement for, quote, Mother's Day appreciation. We can go through some of the pictures here, as you can see. Okay. They did this on Mother's Day. They posted this on Instagram, showing the pregnant man or trans man. And they got a lot of backlash. If you are a channel member, you know that I posted this backstage. there was a lot of discussion back there. There was even a little bit of tussle with some people, because trying to understand it can be, while being respectful, it can get kind of, it can get murky. You don't want to offend anyone, but sometimes, it's like no matter what you say, as you try to ask your questions to get clarity, you might offend someone. So it's definitely interesting waters to walk through. But for me, I'm like, listen, this is it's unnecessary. It's really unnecessary. Like what market are they tapping into? You know, woke has a different terminology nowadays, if you haven't realized. Woke, it doesn't mean you got your kufi, you're pro-black. It doesn't mean woke like black. It's woke now refers to being open to any and everything that um is going on in the LGBTQIA plus community, like everything. But some of the blanket that it covers, it crosses the line. It crosses the line. And one of the points that I've been making lately with some of the things that have been happening is a lot of pedophiles are using the LGBT community as a shield. You find that a lot of the common denominators within these children being victimized, it's you know, listen, I'm trying to choose my words wisely, but I do have some stories lined up to support what I'm saying as I say what I've got to say. But you know, on Mother's Day, was this necessary? Like nowadays, like I said, woke means something totally different. Companies will break their back. They will literally break their back in 2022 to include this imagery so that they can present themselves as inclusive to the new wave or woke and diversified. And this is something that I was saying, and you know, Desire Wade with Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. Yeah, Mother's Day. This was a Mother's Day, you know, part of their Mother's Day appreciation advertising. This is, you know what I mean? But you know, companies are going to break their back to include this imagery to present themselves as inclusive, woke, or diversified. But you know, there's not a large population of pregnant men. Like, because that's what this is. This is, they want to make sure that people understand that pregnant men exist. And it's like, we understand that different stuff is happening, but to impede upon, you know, Mother's Day like that, it's weird. So it's not even like it's lucrative for y'all to tap into that market, Calvin Klein, because it's not like, oh, there's so many, we got to capitalize off this market because it's just so rampant. It's not. It's not a lot of that going on. So, you know, you didn't do it even from a capitalistic point to just like make more money and capitalize, like, you know, how your business models make most of your money is based off of capitalizing based on numbers. But you didn't do this based on numbers. So it seems that y'all, you know, you're trying to prove a point, you're trying to be trendy with this move. And, you know, it's kind of sickening. The you know, the erasure of cis women is becoming more and more popular. It's sad. You know, because there are just a lot of oppressive forces within our own community that are just rising up. There's another picture, because there was something, let's see. I want you all to see this. Okay. So this is, I'm like, listen, like, do your thing. Nobody's saying that we don't think that men should be able to get, if you want to experiment and do your thing, we're not saying like don't do that. We just saying like, you know, you're a hybrid parent. You should have your hybrid day. Don't infringe upon what you know what I'm saying, what cis women have going on. You've got NHS, right? Literally saying National Healthcare Services encouraging people to use the term chest feeding instead of breastfeeding because they want to be gender inclusive. So they don't want us to say breastfeeding. We're so, you know, it's like, what, it's It's just a bit too much. And we're not allowed to like ask questions or say anything. And we're made to be like uncomfortable sometimes with, you know what I mean? Like the bathroom situation, or all they have to do. So yeah, something just doesn't seem right about that. Something just doesn't seem right. And Calvin Klein, Mother's Day, it's out of pocket. It's out of pocket. I don't mind having, others on to express their opinion if they feel like I'm wrong. Of course, I don't know if there'd be somebody out there that will call me phobic. I'm not. Some of this stuff just seems it's just too much. Let women have what we have. There is no need for you to have to do this on Mother's Day. We want to be inclusive of all mothers. Like, nah. That y'all trying to be woke, because that's what woke means nowadays. It's weird. It's weird. Right. And that was the thing, like with this one, like the y'all didn't want to find nobody to really take pictures. Y'all just made them black, or, like what's going on? What's going on? So let me know how y'all feel about it. I feel like it was out of pocket. That's just me. Y'all make sure y'all keep it sticky and real, whether you on the bus, whether you chasing the bus. It's out of pocket.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
So let's move on to more stuff that actually more so affects the children, is being infringed upon the children. When it comes to some stuff that's happening, right? With cis women kind of feeling like they have to share, okay. So, the Menstrual Dignity Act, right? So they're saying that menstrual products are mandatory in school board bathrooms in some spaces. In New Oregon, actually, they are requiring that menstrual products also be offered inside of the boys' bathrooms in state or public schools. And it's like, why is this necessary? Because a lot of school bathrooms don't even have it for the girls. I mean, it was more so, the machines for me, in my experience, every now and then, but a lot of times it was like other public places that more so had machines. A lot of schools didn't, and if it did, it was definitely something that you didn't want to be wearing, for sure. So, like, what do you mean? Like, why are y'all doing this? And why can't you? We ain't never had articles about having machines in the bathroom. We desire to be discreet about it. We want to be discreet about tampons. We want to be discreet. We want to be discreet about that. Like, so why can't y'all be discreet? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you switching, you know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be out there like that? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, y'all wasting lawmakers' times with passing things like this. That's the real tea. Outside of the fact that y'all don't just want to be discreet about needing to use a tampon. Obviously, if you're going through a whole surgery, you know damn well that you need a tampon. So you understand. You don't need no law to be passed for you to be, you know what I'm saying? And so y'all really wasting law officials' time with things like this. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. It's too much. It's too much. But I mean, sometimes it is a bit much. The next one is one that I guess I would give another trigger warning for. It is about a child was tricked by school administration into going to a transgender after school club. Okay. So let me get into the story because it is pretty crazy. A Colorado teacher invited a 12-year-old to an after-school arts club, but it was actually a meeting about trans and queer identity. The kids were asked who they were sexually attracted to and told it's okay to lie to your parents. Okay. That is, it's beyond out of pocket. There's also this video that we're going to watch, at least the beginning of it, and how they get away with telling the parent to their face, I don't care what you want me to call your child. I don't care what pronoun or what name you tell me to call your child. In my classroom, I'm going to call your child their desired pronouns, whatever. Like, they're really having this discussion about saying, fuck what the parents say. We're going to do what we want to do here. And for you to lie and say it's an art club, but it's really where you're sitting here digging into attraction for them, sexualizing them already, and telling them it's okay, literally instructing these kids, as I'm reading through the article, instructing these kids to not tell their parents certain things that they talk about there. Like, it's a bit much. It's a bit much. They said they told the kids that if you're not fully comfortable in your body, you may be transgender. And members of your family are not always safe to talk to. So, like, wait a minute, where do you get off telling my kid that if they're not fully comfortable in their body, that they may be transgender? And and members of your family are not safe to talk to. Like, where do you get off telling somebody's kids that? And an after school club that you didn't ask for my consent to because you said it was art, but instead you digging into stuff like that. Yeah, it absolutely sounds like grooming. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because I don't think that is fair. I don't think that is fair that, for the community as a whole, the LGBT community, begin to be lumped in and associated with, people who are grooming and pedophiles that are using, their community to hide out. I know for a fact that in this community, the predators are infiltrating, and I know that the LGBT community, doesn't desire to groom children and push their sexual preferences and identities onto other people. But, there are a lot of people we did the video the other week about the after school strip club, right? When the kids were told to bring money to tip, and they held, a drag strip club because it was an LGBTQ club. And there was another story where there was this, like, transgender family owned, porn family, and they were sexualizing the 7-year-old. It's just too much. And it's because I think people are uncomfortable with asking questions to that community because they're afraid of the backlash of asking, right? Because if you ask a question wrong time or the wrong way or don't understand, you get labeled as whatever, and no one wants to be labeled or wants to feel the wrath because, so yeah, I just a lot of it is it's really weird. It's really weird. I want you to watch this video. This mother was really upset. There was also a chart that was given to the kids In this after school program, it was called the Genderbread Person. They taught you about your identity, attraction, your sex, how just too much without getting the parents' consent. That's what I'll say. But let's get into this video so you can literally hear them saying what the parents say. We're going to do what we want to do. I want to get into that clip. Hey, thanks for letting me keep you connected and in the know with what's happening in the Black world. Don't forget to smash on that like button for support and for more Black news. All right, so let's get into this. They way out of pocket. There's an email correspondence. I mean, the parents are going back and forth. Like they really have to go back and forth in order to stop the teacher from pushing the boundary and feeling like they don't have to get permission. It's crazy.
I've been tremendous.
What should we do if a parent requests that we refer to their child by the pronouns associated with their sex assigned at birth instead of their preferred pronouns or their pronouns, and that we use their legal name instead of a student's chosen name?
So I could respond with something that I've done. This came up for me. It's come up in a couple different ways, but it's come up for me where caregivers asked, I actually referred to their child's name in an IEP meeting using the name that the child had asked to be referred to and their chosen pronouns. And the caregivers reacted really strongly and then followed up with me and the principal and said, like, I noticed that you were using a different name than my child's given name at birth and the pronouns that we gave them. And I'm respectfully asking that you use the name and the pronouns that we gave them. So the laws in every state are different, obviously, and I can't speak to the laws in everyone's particular state, but I will say, again, the resources that we'll give you after this have some helpful sites where you can go and look up what the rules are for your state. But before I responded to the caregiver, I made sure that I had I ran it by my principal and my superintendent just to make sure that they had my back. And then I responded,
had your back.
I chose my words carefully and I said, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I tried to really like affirm what the caregiver was asking me. Like in terms of, I was like, I hear you saying that you're feeling uncomfortable with me, using the child's preferred name and pronouns. And I hear that you're using different ones at home. Here at school, the expectation is that all of my students feel comfortable and welcome in my classroom. So in my classroom, I will refer to your child by whatever name and pronouns that they've told me they feel most comfortable with. And just have that be it. Almost like the guidelines that I try to use when I'm like explaining hard topics to my students, like less is more. I just say like, it sounds like that really works for you at home and you can absolutely choose to do whatever you'd like at home in my classroom. And I even say like every year I start out my year by like sending home information to caregivers that says like, just so you know, like this is an affirming class. Like one of the ways I affirm students is I call them by the names that they asked to be called by and use their correct pronouns. So just like really, I just told them that maybe that's not helpful, but I just told them no, like respectfully no. And because I had my principal, my super's support, there wasn't much they could do. And they eventually kind of found another, another like topic to like squawk about. And they, sorry, that's not professional, but anyway, and they left that alone. They kind of got over it.
Not got over it.
Similarly to what Kieran said, at my school district, LGBTQ plus students have a Bill of Rights. And the fourth one is that they have the right to be referred to by their gender pronoun and name that fits their gender identity. And so, and similarly, there was a situation where a parent felt that the school was not doing what they wanted them to do. And I don't know if we were even respectful about it. We were just like, no, that's sorry. Like our district-wide rule is that the student determines that, not you, even though you are the parent.
Ours is the same. And again, it really speaks to where you're working, what the district is, the state laws, and having the backing of your administration and your superintendent and the district that says this is our policy, and I'm going to follow the policy.
Yeah, y'all out of pocket. Y'all way out of pocket. Yeah, they out of pocket. Let's go to the bush. I don't know what else to say, because the way she said your child in my classroom, I'm like, not you putting your foot down about my child.
It was gone. Let me just go in the bush and weep. Let me just go in the bush and weep. I just have to go in the bush and weep. Really. I don't understand. I swear to God, I don't understand.
I really don't know. But nonetheless, that's what's going on at schools, right? And imagine the parent wasn't even advised that it was her child. Why would you present it as an art club when it wasn't? Why would you lie and trick my kid? And that's the problem. So it's given very much grooming instead of it's weird. And so, you know what I mean? Like my, everlasting question sometimes is just like, how is, because again, I'm cool with so many of, the LGBT community. And I know that that's not what they into. So I'm just like, how are y'all calling them out and distinguishing yourselves? Because it's going to keep getting worse. If they realize that people are afraid to ask certain questions, or realize that they're even going to lose their parental rights from certain pronouns and whatever the case is, the more they're going to go continue to hide out there to do their dirt, because there are less questions asked, and you have more rights to just stop a parent from being able to make decisions. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, how are y'all calling them out? How are y'all distinguishing yourselves? Because I don't see this decreasing anytime soon. I see this rate, they're using it as a shield. And I just don't think it's fair, especially to the people that I know that aren't into that type of stuff. Older kids, parental is give you something. Okay. I don't like that they feel like they have control over other people's kids. She said names and program. Yeah. As long as they're in my classroom, they're gonna go with whatever. I'm like, what? Yeah, that was just too much. It was a bit too much. It was way too much. Listen, it's been an hour and 53 minutes. Okay. A whole hour and 53 minutes. And we've gotten into a lot of stuff. I see people are still commenting on this subject. Most of the LGBTQ folks I know don't co-sign that madness. Right. I know. You know what I'm saying? And of course, most of the ones I know I don't know any that do, that are a part, of the community. My whole thing is I'm just like, listen, where can I look at where they're being called out, where they're being dragged, and how can I be an ally to that? That's what I want to know. So, and that's always my question, just like, how are y'all distinguishing yourselves? So yeah. And I am open to having others on, and I do have a couple of people who are willing to come on We just trying to get a day and a time set, and that takes a lot. It takes a little bit of a lot. But nonetheless, listen, it is 12:34 in the morning, everybody. It is 12:34 in the morning. We have been on the bus for our listen, gather your belongings, because it's time for y'all to get off the bus. Get off the bus. It's time to go to bed. I'm getting ready to go get me a little snack, and I'm getting ready to go to bed. Okay. Thank you all so much for riding the bus this evening. Some of my final thoughts. Let me take a look at the title again. Some of my final thoughts. Listen, R. Kelly being friends with Frank James, it's a match made in heaven. They deserve each other. They really do. And I'm not surprised. Neither one of their elevators go all the way to the top. It makes sense. They're both illiterate as hell. They're both very ignorant. They both live in an alternate universe where they feel like they're not Black. They don't ever have to deal with the Black experience. R. Kelly really thought he was going to get out. Like, he really thought he didn't take the plea deal because he thought that his celebrity was going to override whatever the judges were saying. And maybe because he had some success before, but yeah, Uncle Ruckus, Frank James, he lived in an alternate reality as well. He must have really didn't feel like he was a Black man, because he was literally Uncle Ruckus. It was ridiculous. So it was just, listen, it was a lot going on with the both of them, but nonetheless, I feel like they are a match made in heaven. I think that Pastor Jamal Bryant, to touch on that really quickly, I think he was, to be the bigger man and come out and apologize took a lot, whether it was because they are part of the same fraternity or not. Who knows? I think that that's definitely what it was. But listen, he apologized in the very same pulpit. Loud. He didn't make it quick. It wasn't just 2 words. He's good with words. So let me know if you felt like the apology was sincere or not. Any and all thoughts, I can't wait to hear from you down below in the comments. But listen, be sure to tag me in all of your favorite trending topics on Instagram and on Twitter. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Make sure you check out the community tab. Don't forget to do something for you today. Make sure you relax. Let me know your thoughts on all the neighborhoods that we stopped through today. And most importantly, listen, if you have not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. Okay? Hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and thumbs up or down. Either way, I appreciate it. But I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Y'all stay beautiful, Black, and blessed. Make sure you drop some pancake emojis for me. This has been an amazing ride, all right, on the bus. I really appreciate y'all tuning into the Black News Bus, which is a social media stroll. I'm going to see you all later on, and bye. But that's it. If you want to catch more of my commentary on Black culture or vital and trending information, be sure to subscribe by hitting that little circle in the middle of the screen, or I'll catch you in one of these rectangles to the right in another video. I'll see you there.